Once upon a time in the bustling city of Metroville, there were two neighbors, each leading entirely different lives. One was a wealthy businessman named Richard Richman, and the other was a struggling artist named Peter Poorly. Their lives couldn't be more different, and little did they know, a peculiar clock was about to change everything. Richard Richman lived in a grand mansion that glittered with opulence. He had a fleet of luxury cars, a personal chef, and a wardrobe filled with designer suits. His life was a whirlwind of business meetings, charity galas, and fancy parties. Richard was always surrounded by people who admired his wealth and success. But deep down, he felt like something was missing. One sunny morning, as Richard was sipping his imported coffee and admiring his collection of expensive watches, he noticed a peculiar clock in a corner of his lavish living room. It was unlike any clock he had ever seen. Instead of numbers, it had words written on it. The clock's message read, "Your time is limited. Don't waste it living someone else's life." Richard, intrigued by the message, couldn't help but ponder its meaning. He realized that, despite his riches, he had been living a life that others expected of him, not the life he truly desired. He decided to make a change. Next door to Richard lived Peter Poorly, a struggling artist with a humble apartment filled with stacks of canvases, paint splatters, and a worn-out easel. Peter was passionate about painting, but his art had yet to gain recognition. He worked part-time at a local cafe to make ends meet while dreaming of a breakthrough in the art world. One day, as Peter was contemplating the rent he couldn't afford, he received an unexpected package. It was a mysterious clock with a message that read, "Your time is limited. Don't waste it living someone else's life." Peter, a bit puzzled, placed the clock in the center of his cluttered apartment. The message echoed in his mind as he continued to paint. He realized that he had been living a life trying to meet society's expectations rather than following his true passion. One evening, Richard and Peter happened to bump into each other at a local art gallery. Richard was exploring the world of art, attempting to discover his true passions beyond business success. Peter was showcasing his paintings, hopeful that one day his art would touch people's hearts. They struck up a conversation, and as they shared their experiences, they realized how their lives had been shaped by external expectations. Richard admired Peter's dedication to art, while Peter admired Richard's willingness to explore new passions. As Richard and Peter continued their friendship, they decided to collaborate on a project that combined Richard's business acumen with Peter's artistic talent. They named it The Clock's Comedy. The Clock's Comedy was an immersive art installation that featured the mysterious clock as its centerpiece. The installation encouraged visitors to reflect on the message, "Your time is limited. Don't waste it living someone else's life," and consider how they could pursue their true passions. The project garnered attention from both the art world and the business community, and it became a massive success. People from all walks of life were inspired to embrace their passions and follow their own dreams, just as Richard and Peter had done. With the success of The Clock's Comedy, Richard and Peter found fulfillment in their lives. Richard continued his exploration of various interests, and Peter's art gained recognition and praise. They had learned that true wealth and happiness came from following their own paths and passions. The mysterious clock, now an iconic symbol of their journey, remained in Peter's apartment, a reminder that their time was indeed limited, and they would never waste it living someone else's life. In the end, Richard and Peter discovered that the most valuable treasure was not in their possessions or societal expectations, but in embracing their true selves and pursuing their dreams with passion and authenticity.